Hello. Let me get this a little bit better positioned. Welcome, welcome. Thank you all for joining. So we're going to go ahead and get started with a little bit. I'm Dr. Alison K. Just in case some of you don't know that, I'm going to go ahead and get started first with let's tap. Hi, Sister Claire. Let's go ahead and give our immune systems a boost. Take your middle three fingers, so right basically at your higher heart chakra. So here's the physical heart chakra, clavicle bones are right here, and so right about here in the middle. Let's go ahead and give our thymus gland, which is responsible and the regulator of our immune systems, some light taps. And you may want to share this all. Hi, Shannon. Hi, Shelly. So glad you're all here. So that's, if you do that every morning and you let your beloveds know, and especially the healthcare workers out on the front lines and the frontline workers in the grocery stores and the first responders, all those folks who are still out there, the FedEx deliverers, the Amazon deliverers, our postal service workers, anybody you talk to, just give them a hint of this tapping of the thymus gland. And now let's go ahead and do a little bit of alternate nostril breathing. Peace fingers on the third eye, thumb and pinky are ready to work. Thumb plugs right nostril, inhale left. Plug left, unplug right, exhale right, hi Yellen. Inhale right. Plug right, unplug left, exhale left. Inhale left. Plug left, unplug right, exhale right. Inhale right. Thank you for the love. Plug right, unplug left, exhale left. Inhale left. Plug left, unplug right, exhale right. Inhale right. Plug right, unplug left, exhale left. We're going to go half the full prescription. We're on round 4. Inhale left. Plug left, unplug right, exhale right. Hey, Diane. Inhale right. Plug right, unplug left, exhale left. One more. Inhale left. Plug left, unplug right, exhale right. Inhale right. Plug right, unplug left, exhale left. Good. So back and forth is 1 round, and the prescription is 10 rounds, and that's the pranayama, which is the Sanskrit word for yogic breathing practices, and it's one of the 8 limbs of yoga. And that particular pranayama has been used like with people in the midst of panic attacks to shift the physiology immediately out of the activation of fight or flight, the sympathetic nervous system, and calming into the parasympathetic nervous system. Helps with so many things. You can Google it if you want. I don't want to spend our time listing the benefits, but one other thing is done preventatively. It will help keep your system calmer during these times. And so I welcome all of you, and I'm grateful for those of you who made it live and who are going to make it live. And then those of you listening to the replay, I've called in some advanced folks to show up today, and also to listen to the replay. And I'm so grateful for all of you who are here. Hey, Debbie Chapman. Thanks, Claire, for those goddess images. So the reason why is we're going to do a little bit more advanced work today. We're going to do something a little out of the regular that we've been establishing for these daily 3 p.m. New York time Facebook Lives, where myself and my beloved herd of vibrational upgrade practitioners are delivering light and energy to keep you all increasingly out of overwhelm, trauma that could accumulate to PSD, mild shock, and to keep you calm and peaceful and routed for the actual new paradigm that's coming through. So we're going to do work with that for all of you today, as well as we're going to do work for some healthcare workers, and I'll get into that in a few moments. But where I'm going to come out of the routine here is to talk for a moment about what we're up to and how much you're contributing. So some of you know that I had my first career in politics and particularly focused on people who would write getting people elected who would write legislation to protect the environment. That was in 91 and 92 for the 92 election season, and I was based in California. And after that, after a lot of success in that, and that's actually when I learned to meditate too, during that, because there was so much stress put on me because I was having so much success, because I was so aligned on mission, that they put me in really stressful campaigns. After seeing thanks for the love, after seeing the results I was able to produce as an organizer on the primaries, then they put me into this really tight race in the Sierra Nevadas between a developer and a potential legislator, a candidate who was going to write legislation for the environment. And my system went into a squeeze. And so I had to learn how to come out of that contraction. And I was walking through a bookstore in San Francisco one day during this time, and a book fell off the shelf at my feet, purple book, stopping me in my tracks. Many of you know that feeling. And I picked it up, and that was my first meditation teacher. It became my first meditation teacher. So flash forward after the election season, I stepped back and went overseas backpacking for 6 months to give myself a break and to regroup on my focus. And so what I realized was the machinery that is in control and the dominance of power on the planet was not yet ready to give way. So approaching it from that systemic, whoever just sent that heart, you're so perfect. So approaching change from that systemic perspective, because it was both outside of the system and then within the system. Actually, I'm mistaken. So I came back from the 6 months overseas, and I pursued my master's in public administration with the focus on public policy, the timeline. I'll get back to that. And I graduated with that master's in public policy or public administration with a focus on public policy and environmental legislation, and attempted to place in positions. And it was during that time that I started to smell out that whether the change was happening from within the system, like working within a nonprofit or working within a governmental body or bureaucracy, whether at the local, state, or federal level, the machinery that's in control of the resources on the planet and who was in power wasn't yet ready to let go. And so that was when I realized I had a really strong intuitive lightning bolt here, that if change is going to happen, it's going to happen one person at a time. So I pulled back in with some of my mom's brilliant guidance as always. She's like, there's a shortage of teachers in Florida, why don't you use your bachelor's and teach English Lit? So I did. And you know the rest of the story, most of you, that eventually led, just within a few years, so I began running. I was already teaching meditation. And then as I started the classroom teaching in the public school system in Florida, I learned my first energy medicine modality that first year I graduated with my master's. So that was starting to take up much more space in my life as I was shifting gears down out of systemic change. So I went to the working with students in a classroom teaching a lot, and then had my energy medicine and wellness sessions alongside that, as well as teaching meditation first out to adults in the community and then to students in the school system. And after 2.5 years of that, I went overseas to the international school system, to Asia specific, because I knew that there was understanding of how to work with energy there, and that could improve the results for my clients. So here we are today, and each of you showing up, each of you acting as a bridge, bringing down these higher frequencies and letting your field be reorganized to also emanate out those frequencies. You're fixing the higher vibrations that are more aligned with source, with the divine plan. And so that is allowing the vibrations to raise. And that's what I saw way back when I said, let me go down to change one person at a time. And I was guided on how to do that. So that's what we're up to here. You are serving so much by being present. And those of my beautiful masterminders who have gotten the attunements and have opened up your antennas to grab at and allow more light, even more to come down, are really in a position to have that marriage with the divine be much more effective and emanate out that higher vibration that then helps dissipate the lower vibration. So the more of us doing this work, changing out of an ego mind dominant structure and allowing in for more of the alignment with our higher selves and the alignment with source, the easier the shift, the grand shift we're in the midst of will be, and the faster. So this is the advanced part. There's, and I normally would only do this with folks in my, at least Magic Manifestation Money Flow program, if not only my mastermind. So give me just a moment to take a sip and just get clear on how I want to step into this, please. Green tea? Okay, so I've lived in surrender since I began learning around 2011 with the experts and scientists I was interviewing on my radio show about the galactic alignment that was at that time pending, December 21st, 2012. And as I became more aware of what these times are about, remembering that I'm a yoga teacher trained in India, and yoga means to yoke with the divine, and understanding that the paradigm shift that's happening from 3D, 4D, heart opening, 5D, conscious co-creator, fifth chakra involved there. I understand that one part of this grand plan that's going on right now is the ability to less and less make choices from our ego mind and more live in surrender, heart chakra, to our higher self, crown chakra, and source, above crown chakra. And so I've lived in surrender to the divine plan, listening to my guidance, how I can best serve, ushering in this shift. And I remember last year, I was on retreat taking my new-to-be Dragon masterminders through different sacred sites and stone circles. And we were staying overnight right at Land's End in England, right by St. Michael's Mount in England. We were going to the next morning. And there was a discussion that was brought forward, and you know who you are. And some of the southern states were talking about limiting abortion rights, going aside from the federal Supreme Court in the states ruling of Roe v. Wade. And there was a lot of feeling of impatience at this point, of the backlash, of the resistance of the old masculine power dominance, suppression under, hierarchical, I have power over, the old paradigm that's leaving now, that's collapsing now. For the first time, I let myself feel the impatience and let myself choose based on what seems like a more ego mind reaction, impatience. And instead, I let myself respond to it. And the next day at the last stone circle we went to, the Seven Maidens stone circle, many of you who were there that day are on this Facebook Live right now. You know that I asked, as we each participated holding hands in that sacred stone circle, where the maidens who were dancing on the Sabbath in that unorthodox way were turned to stone. That's the folklore surrounding this stone circle we were in. We all made commands and called in energy to help us, in blessings and fierceness of the goddess, to help this be softer, easier, and quicker. So with the advanced part here is that dance between how much do I surrender and listen to my guidance, meaning listen to what source needs, what Source is asking for, what the divine plan is? How much am I involved? How much am I responsible for co-creating? Now, obviously, this is well above and beyond what a lot of people are doing at the magic manifestation and money flow level, where you're, or even lower it sometimes at the activate your magic level, where you're clearing and you're balancing the chakras. So as you clear out the old identity level self, the old ego mind self that is impatient or frustrated or demands things or gets triggered or just doesn't see other possibilities and stays tracked to the same, as we clear out the causes for that in the relevant chakras, what opens up is more alignment. And so that allows in that alignment with higher self and source. So there's more ability to surrender to the divine that comes in. So what I'm talking about at this advanced level now is how much can, understanding that part of the creation, how much is surrender and how much is, hey, I'd like this to be easier now, please. And some of you saw the last Facebook Live I did 2 Wednesdays ago at this point. I was in tears during one of the upgrades because of the amount of suffering that humanity seems to require in order to get this. So what I'd like to do today, before we move into the support for you all and the healthcare workers, is living here based in Florida now, as I have been on and off in Florida since I came back from that 6 months backpacking overseas in '94. I am aware in watching some press conferences with the Floridian governor that he is aligned with more of a viewpoint that's in resistance to seeing what's actually happening. So the other night, 2 nights ago, I was exercising after our free monthly call, and I was seeing how much the governors countrywide in the United States were now, as the country with the biggest number of cases, had been struggling for equipment, and that if our president would enact there's a release lever he can do in a military, kind of a military protective act, I forget the acronym for it, he could then ask private sector companies to produce items needed for the war. And he had been resistant to activating that. So in the midst of all of these governors apparently like bidding against each other and the FEMA to get ventilators, and the private companies making the ventilators were actually looking for the higher bids. So they were going through the typical government bidding procedures and with that capitalistic element. And they weren't getting the equipment they needed, and they was wasting hours of their staff's time when they could have all been accomplishing much more, focused on getting the equipment. So our president had a call with the governors 2 days ago on Thursday day, ended up in resistance. And Thursday night, as I was watching the news after our free monthly call, after eating dinner while exercising, at one point in my heart, it was that same kind of thing that night in the amount of backlash the feminine has had to deal with. That was right at the thick of the Me Too movement now. And I made this plea to help him shift into service. And he did. I let out a loud whoop as I sat alone in my living room watching that. And so now he's ordered GM to make ventilators. And it's a limited activation of that act. And people are asking, okay, so what would it take for him to fully activate that act? So I don't know what else is possible. You guys saw in my post today, you can go read it. I don't want to take our time now, but I would like to apply the effectiveness of what I've seen time and time again from the work that I'm doing, whether I'm on behalf of the collective on my own or in group with you all, and everything in between that. I want to see what else is possible with asking our decision makers and sending energy to our decision makers at every level to be in more surrender to what will help the collective. Now, keep another thing in mind. Some of you may have seen on that Facebook Live 2 weeks ago when I said, please don't hold me to the timeline I'm sensing. I could feel that collapsing very soon after, and it was dependent on the actions taken. There was a report released from the Imperial College in London that I saw on BBC last night about the amount of deaths that may happen if our leaders take slower action, and if our leaders take strict, fast action, the death rate could be reduced to a quarter of what they're predicting. Okay? Thank you so much for your receiving of this. Let's do it. And in part, specifically to Florida, there is a resistance of our governor to close it down. Our local governments, where Claire and I live in the county here, Pinellas County, the second most densely populated county in the state after Miami-Dade, they've made local rulings where it's like suggested stay at home, but the at-risk population we have and the density of our population in Florida, it's being predicted that it's going to spread like wildfire. So I would like to do our best to prevent that, as well as go out to all of the decision makers. And then we'll move into what's become the regular focus, including our healthcare workers. And I'm going to be announcing who we're focusing on in just a few moments, what healthcare workers today and what location. Yeah, I feel some of you are already focusing on a particular leader. And I don't know if that's the most effective. Let's not start there. Let's go ahead and thank you again for being so advanced that you are here and so loving in this position to allow yourself to be used as a surrogate to bring down these and distribute these higher frequencies that are more aligned with the divine plan and the collective highest and best good, rather than individuals still in resistance to the old power dominance paradigm. Thank you. This is being asked on behalf of all of the decision makers across this beloved planet Earth who are in any positions of power or decision making that can in any way affect and improve the response to what humanity needs, what the healthcare workers need, what the frontline workers need, what the individual boots on the ground people need in order to serve during this COVID-19 crisis. So I'm going to go right at the karma. So any and all karma as appropriate. Are we all willing to burn up as surrogates of any and all karma that is blocking the ability of our leaders to just align and be in further service and make decisions that are in the highest and best for the quickest resolution of COVID-19? This is where you'd say yes, yes. So we're burning up any and all karma as appropriate at the decision levels, those in power, making the decisions that are affecting in any way allowing COVID-19, thank you all, to spread faster or be more deadly than it needs to be, burning up any and all karma that's causing that block and resistance to making the wisest decisions possible as appropriate. This is really strong, the karma part. Hi Cloud, I felt you. Hi Pam, love the silver eagle. Hi Lana. Hi Hope Fair Service, love that name. And so any and all free-floating thoughts and trauma that are in any way causing our those in the positions of power and decision makers to slow down their rate of making the wisest possible decisions on behalf of humanity during this COVID-19 crisis. All of those are also getting burned up with the flames of transmutation. Any and all conditioning from the trance of the masses that's in any way causing them to respond slowly or respond selfishly or respond egotistically or blocking them from making the wisest possible decisions to help and serve humanity's needs in the biggest, most robust way possible, those are getting burned up. All imprints from their parents, all imprints from their parents' parents, any and all contracts, oaths, vows, swearings, promises, any and all unconscious conclusions, beliefs, computations, and evaluations they have, as appropriate, we ask that all of that gets burned up with the flames of transmutation that is in any way blocking them from making the wisest decisions possible. Feel free at this point to think of any leaders in your mind, specific leaders. Activating the upgrade now. So any and all latent keys and codes, ancient wisdom and inherent talents within each of us, acting as surrogates on behalf of our leaders, as well as within each of us that can help bring this all into alignment with our at least fifth dimensional divine blueprints for our highest potential and our highest possibilities to be realized. And our highest destiny to be actualized. Activating the upgrade now. Excellent. Thank you. So what I'd like to do now is clear out any exhaustion, overwhelm, etc. with you all. So we're going to go into another vibrational upgrade. This is personal for you. After we do that, we'll go into the one for the healthcare workers, and that will include anybody, at the end, it will include anybody you're personally worried about. So this one right now is for you. Only you. So any and all of the imprints from your parents, the imprints from your parents' parents, any and all of the free-floating thoughts and traumas, any and all of your karma as appropriate, any and all of your Ending all of the contracts, oaths, vows, promises you've ever taken across all time, space, dimensions, and realities. Ending all unconscious conclusions and computations and decisions and judgments you've ever made or have now. And ending all conditioning from the trance of the masses. And ending all free-floating thoughts and trauma and shock that is in any way causing you to be exhausted, overwhelmed, lethargic, in some gray cloud, as if moving through thick energy, in mild shock, in mild trauma, worried, anxious, concerned, unsettled, not feeling safe. We're going to burn up all of it with the flames of transmutation. Yeah? This is where you'd say yes. Activating the upgrade now. So, any and all latent keys and codes and ancient wisdom and inherent talents, and any and all blessings and support possible to bring this all into alignment with your at least fifth dimensional divine blueprint for your highest potential and highest possibilities, and for your highest destiny to be physically actualized, activating the upgrade now. Good. So let's go ahead and go for the healthcare workers that apparently have just had at least, last I checked, 160 healthcare workers on the front lines fall down with COVID-19 positive. This is now going to the northeast of the United States, to Boston, my hometown. So we're going to focus on the healthcare workers of Boston today. When I checked in, it didn't feel like Western Massachusetts, the Berkshires, which is where I went to for my bachelor's. That doesn't feel needed down south towards the Cape, which I lived just due north of, and then North Boston, leading to the New Hampshire state line. It feels like it's greater Boston. So I did not, as I was listening to what wanted to get done today, I did not do a Google of this. Actually, I don't have the ability to do that. So if somebody wants to do that, I don't know if it's going to disrupt your... Let me see if I can get away with this, with what I've got arranged here to have this propped up. Give me just a moment, please. Sorry for this. I don't want to interrupt you guys, so I don't want to ask you, please don't help. Just be. List of hospitals in Boston, Mass. God bless you, Google. Hi, I'm here. Yeah. Has it get any easier than this? they seem to be acting as if I'm searching, as if I'm a person who needs to go to one instead of just getting like the Google map. Can you guys please just give me the hospitals in Boston? Somehow I'm not getting. Wow, this is just, I'm not supposed to have it. Okay. So any and all of, that doesn't feel right though. Thanks for your patience. I'm so sorry, you guys. I know, I mean, Mass General is one of them. I remember that from growing up there. Bring a woman's, I mean, there's, thank you. So, here we go. This is for all of the healthcare workers on the front lines in Boston, in the greater Boston area. So we're going to go ahead and be calling down the light now. So if all of you want to open up, and this is where my hands are going to be involved. I'm going to flow the energy to you and through you. Yep, Mass General, of course. That's the first one I named. Thanks, Hope. Keep them coming, though. If you guys know, if you're in Boston or you know Boston, yep, Mass General is the one I had too, right off the top of my head. Thanks, Claire. So you can, this is a chance if you're involved in there for the Boston area to name the hospitals in here. So give me just a moment to open up the tube that collapses time and space so we can have this descend and flow the energy too. So you're amplifying, as Helen said yesterday, you're amplifying the power of this light. So this energy and light is to be directed towards any and all of the hospitals named, both and unnamed, in the greater Boston, Massachusetts, United States area, to help the healthcare workers on the front lines at any level, any of the workers involved with the running and functioning of the hospital. So any and all of the equipment that they need is also brought to them. Any and all of the calmness and presence that they need is flown in to each of them, where they feel supported, they have the support that they desire and require. So we're going to go into now the Mass General Hospital, as we've already said, the Shriners Hospital for Children, the New England Baptist Hospital, the Brigham and Women's Hospital. Boston Medical Center, Massachusetts General Hospital, Floating Hospital for Children, Brigham and Women's Faulkner Hospital. All chapters, all of the Massachusetts General Hospital, not chapters, but all locations of the Massachusetts General Hospital. Harvard's PMR, Boston Children's Hospital, Brigham and Women's again. So, New England Baptist Hospital, and any and all of the temporary hospitals that are being set up, God bless them, with involvement from the Army Corps of Engineers, the St. Elizabeth's Medical Center, the Mass, okay, so this is including out in Brooklyn, this is in Brookline, pardon me, this is including the greater general Boston area, Tufts Medical Center, Harvard Medical Center, Beth Israel, and I'm gonna stop there with the list so I can get the energy flowing now. Let me just get yours. Claire, Beth Israel, Deaconess, I don't even know how to say that. The Boston's Children's Hospital from Pam. Can't click on that to see more. Claire submitting Dana Faber. It's not time yet. Oh, is she a healthcare worker? Okay. Sorry. Tufts Medical Center. Thank you, Claire. God bless you. Okay, so I'm gonna stop reading these for now, but know that they're included. This is focusing on the frontline healthcare workers right now and everyone involved in the operations of the hospitals right now. In Boston, greater Boston area. There's a calming presence, please, that's starting to permeate because they have everything they need. And what would it take for the actual number of cases and the requirements of hospitalization to dissipate and decrease as quickly and easily as possible in this greater Boston area, so that they are not overwhelmed at all, so there's no need for this? What would it take for COVID-19 to just disappear off the face of the planet as it came in, just appearing? What would it take for it to just disappear? Helping the nurses and doctors and everyone involved in the running of the hospital feel the light, see the light, sense the light at the end of the tunnel. The ones who've fallen sick, help their symptoms be mild and the quickest recovery possible. Please help them feel and see the gratitude. Help them see and feel and sense the support all around them in the ethers. Help smooth out functioning for each of these hospitals. In any of the hospitals put up at the last minute by the Army Corps of Engineers to serve. Help them come out of crisis management mode. Help the need to be in crisis management mode collapse for their highest and best. Keep submitting, it's good. They'll be included. Just focusing right now on the hospitals themselves and all of the workers within the hospitals. Haven't yet moved out. There's rather substantial support needed, apparently. So, pardon me, if you are not, I did not say this, but it's already starting, so some of you are doing it, thank you. If you are trained in the vibrational upgrade energy medicine, you know what to do here. If you're having your own modality, feel free to engage. If you're an energy medicine practitioner of some sort that can marry with this flow of light. If not, feel free to visualize a violet flame that is has a transmutative power, so it's transmuting struggles, suffering, what you know we're doing here. And what is particularly potent right now, and that's what I just cued into, which is what made me speak up, is this crystallized white, clear white. It has like a charmed crystalline aspect to the energy. This is pure white light. You can see that flowing down to the ceilings, the roofs of the tops of the hospitals, and just going in and purifying everything. Not only of the COVID-19, but just easing it all. Thank you. Well done, y'all. The birds just chirped more. Ah, beautiful. I'm feeling some of you in particular. I don't want to call out your names, but just beautiful. Okay. You can include in the families of these healthcare workers in Boston who may be worried. Gonna help to collapse that worry. And if any of you are moms or loved ones of frontline workers, let's collapse your fear into a golden white Christ consciousness, supportive energy. The worry is going to chip away at their aura. We don't want that. We want supportive energies going to them. So you could picture like the golden frequencies of the Christ consciousness on your own when you're not here doing this. It was just a tip I was giving there, but we're now focusing the same thing we've been doing, extending out to the people who are worried about their loved ones, the families of these frontline workers of the greater Boston area. Keeping them all safe from any spread, any more transmission of the Covid-19. Just allowing this high light to purify it all and dissipate it all. What if this Covid-19 wasn't even needed to shift humanity? What would it take with ease and grace and joy? It's lovely. Such beautiful hearts. Okay, so now go ahead and take the time to bring in your own peeps you may be concerned about, that you would like some support flowing to. You can feel free to name them here or just in your head. It's equal potency. Some of you are having some concern. Hearts are going into contraction. Please keep breathing through it and just know the light is getting to these loved ones. And see them surrounded in a bubble that's protective with those golden frequencies. Some of you just went into such different contraction. Look at the difference in yourselves. You can monitor it when you're in service for others and then what happens when it becomes personal. Hold that height in that knowing, even when it enters your world more. Better. Lindsay, what you listed is Seattle, yeah? It's really good to have that. We've checked in with Seattle a couple of times. And honestly, your governor is so bang on. He's doing such a great job. They don't feel as in need as like New Orleans is coming in now, because they're just not as together. So we've been checking in on Seattle, but really it feels good and strong. Excellent, Lindsay. And Seattle was one of the first places we checked in on. You're welcome. But we're really following the energy here of where the support's most needed. On a daily update, Chen and I were going at it on the mastermind Facebook group late, as I was getting updated on the numbers. So let's go ahead and